There is one very profound statement in Ziyarat al-Nahiyah that captures the moment. The family of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, those women came to know about the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This passage captures their reaction to the martyrdom of the Imam. The passage states, فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَا النِّسَاءُ جَوَادَكَ مَخْزِيًّا وَنَظَرْنَ سَرْجَكَ عَلَيْهِ مَلْوِيًّا. When the women saw that your horse came back to them broken without a rider, they knew that the calamity had befallen them. They knew that you were being martyred at that moment. How did they react to that? The passage continues, بَرَزْنَ مِنَ الْخُدُورِ نَاشِرَاتُ الشُّعُورِ. They came out from their protected tents, spreading out their hair. Many people have questioned, what is the meaning of this passage? For the women of the Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them, to spread out their hair, did they uncover their hair before those men? Some people have understood it this way, and this passage has disturbed them. How is it possible that the women of the Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them, would uncover their hair? We know that the family of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was at a very high level of piety, taqwa, self-restraint, and patience. They would never uncover their hair before those men. They would never violate the sanctity of the hijab. So how do we understand this passage? There are four primary understandings or expert opinions about the meaning of this passage. The first meaning, the first expert opinion, says that we have to examine the customs of the Arabs at the time. There was a very common custom amongst the Arabian societies that when a tragedy would strike, the women would untie their hair. Their hair would be tied or braided. They would untie it and unbraid it to signify that they are shocked at a tragedy. According to this opinion, the women of the Ahlul Bayt did not expose their hair to those men. They simply reached out to their hair through their hands and they untied the hair while their hands were inside their hijab. Their head was covered with the headscarf, with the abaya, with the cloak. And so under their hijab, they untied the hair. And that's what it means to say nashirat al-shu'ur. You're spreading out the hair because it was tied, you untie it. This was a common way to react to a tragedy. When a woman wanted to express her sorrow at a tragedy, she would untie their hair. According to this meaning, the women of the Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them, did not expose their hair to those evil men. This opinion is one that is accepted by many of our scholars. In fact, by most of scholars. The second opinion states that the woman uncovered their hair, because you can extract this meaning from this phrase. It's possible to go into this direction as well. The women uncovered their hair, but they were in the tent area that Imam Hussein alayhi salam had placed for them. They were not in the presence of the enemies. The Imam alayhi salam had his tents situated in a circular area. So there was this vast area in the middle of those tents, such that the tents would be surrounding that yard, that courtyard. The woman came out into this area, this open area, but it was shielded from the enemies. You had the tents around them, so men who were on the other side could not see inside this area. So yes, they came out from their tents. They reacted very strongly to the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. They were in utter shock, in utter grief. They exposed their hair, but not before those men. They were not to be seen by those men. They were not even visible by those men. This is a second way of understanding this statement, and this also does not defy the laws of the hijab, because they did not expose their hair before anyone. The third opinion examines the root word of shu'ur, nashirat al-shu'ur. The word shu'ur in Arabic can be the plural of hair. Sha'r is singular. Shu'ur means hairs. in plural form. It can also be the plural of one's feelings, masha'ir, shu'ur. I have feelings, I react emotionally. So nashirat al-shu'ur, according to the third opinion, it may be a far-fetched opinion, but it nonetheless is a possibility. The third opinion means that they reacted strongly and emotionally. There was an outburst of emotions. That's the meaning of nashirat al-shu'ur. They could not hold back their emotions. The fourth opinion states that the one who did that, who uncovered the hair, was the woman of the Ansar, the woman of the companions, not Lady Zainab alayhi salam and the woman of the Ahlul Bayt. And so Lady Zainab alayhi salam, according to this opinion, she reminded them to be patient, don't go out in the presence of those men. So they took off their hijabs because they were so shocked. They were running towards the battlefield when Lady Zainab stopped them and took them back. So the fourth opinion states that some of those women, the women of the companions, they reacted very emotionally to this very tragic event. But Lady Zainab alayhi salam was there to remind them to uphold the status of the hijab even during calamities. Therefore, we have these four opinions, amongst many other opinions, to better understand what this phrase means. And we can summarize the meaning of this phrase in 2 points. Ziyarat al-Nahiya is telling us what happened to these women. They were broken, they were shocked, they reacted very strongly to the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein. The whole universe reacted to the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein. The skies wept blood. And so those women reacted very strongly to their Imam being slaughtered on the plains of Karbala. And so this statement is a metaphor to bring our minds closer to that tragedy and how the women were impacted by it. Secondly, by analyzing the statement, we conclude that the family of Ahlul Bayt did not do anything that would violate the hijab. Either they untied their hair, or their hair was exposed in an enclosed area that was away from those enemies. Or this means it's an outburst of emotions, or maybe some woman of the Ansar did that, but Lady Zainab alayhi salam and the woman of Ahlul Bayt were there to remind them of the values of hijab and to uphold them. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn wa ala ashab al-Husayn.